What is going on, everybody? How you doing? Another episode of Opinions from Offside. I'm here again with Kanye Fred West. Can you believe it? Can you believe it? Episode 9 already.
Bloody hell, we're flying, bro. We're flying. Considering we started a week ago. Just flying.
Yeah, just banging them out, as they say, banging them out, trying to get consistent and. Let's get another show in the bag today on Opinions from Offside. Right, first of all, I'm throwing it straight on you. First subject.
Bring it up, man.
Right. And you inspired this question. What makes a captain? What are the qualities of a captain? And I'll tell you, let me give you my little, I'll preface it a minute. I played football with you a couple of times now, as you know. We had a good old game on Monday. I reckon, looking at the positions, and we won that tournament on Monday, didn't we? With our results.
I think so. I think so.
Without a doubt, but football's always the winner, as you told them. Yeah, we did all right there. You are definitely a captain on the football pitch. You're definitely, I've known you a long time. That's definitely a different facet to your personality. Playing with
very competitive.
But it's good because I've known you in your normal job, and I know you're a leader there, you're a manager in what you do there. But so I don't want to take away your answer to this question, but having played with you off the pitch, around that environment, you're different. On the pitch, you're different. You definitely, what I think, embodies all the qualities of a captain. And I'll go on after you and give examples of how you do that. I thought it was brilliant the way you organise and whatnot. But I'm curious to hear if you even touch on the things that you do yourself as a captain. I want to know what you think makes a captain. And let's not forget there are different types of captain as well.
Yeah. I would probably say that I think the types of captain you've got ones which are the team is everything. No matter what, even if they're not playing, the team is everything. You've got captains which are lead by examples. You've got vocal captains, I would say. I'd probably say they're the main three you've got. Lead by examples, you look at the captains usually that get towards the end of their career. Gary Neville at United, towards the end, from what you hear from other players, even though he wasn't playing as much around the club, just brilliant. Just really positive with people in training, still giving his all. Even though he was injured, he was still there. That sort of lead by example, this is what you'd expect off the pitch. Then you've got the two comparisons I would look at. You've got Vieira and Keane. Vieira was a big tackle, lead by example. This is how we do it. Give it the ball, grab the game by the scruff, similar to a Gerrard sort of thing. But I'd say Gerrard did a bit more both because he was always screaming at players, expecting a lot. And while Keane was similar, I think Keane was very more vocal, be brave, and stuff like that. So I would say what makes you a captain, I think it would also depend on your position, I think. I think being a defender, you see a lot more in front of you. There's nothing behind you. So
I was going to ask, do you think that certain positions are more valid for captaincy because of that point? I don't really like, I've had a change of heart on this recently, but I think normally a defender, central defender, or a midfielder should be the captain because it's easier for them to get a message, communication to everybody. If you're the keeper, you got it all in front of you. But how are you giving an instruction to your centre forward? Do you know what I mean? Well, do you think where you play is a factor?
That was actually one of the things I was going to bring with you. Yeah, best position for a captain. I would say ideally the best captains I've played with have mainly been centre-backs or strikers. Because as a striker, they can see everything going back, and as a centre-back, you can see everything going forward. Goalkeepers, I've seen goalkeepers be captains, but it's, as a manager once told me before, as a goalkeeper, you should be loud, you should be vocal anyway. So for you to have the armband, it shouldn't bring that out of you. Some people rise to the occasion with the armband. I know me personally, when I was ever captain, I was a bit more, the back was straight, or the chest was out a bit more a bit more talkative. But as I got older, the more I learned, it was very much, as a centre-back, you look good by communication. So it's a natural habit. As long as you can speak to the people. I mean, I would say the best part about being a captain would be that you've got to have that communication, but you've got to have the players' respect. I mean, one of the things that when we played on Monday, I tried to say to one of the lads, have faith in your player. Give him the ball. If he's calling for it, he's asking for a reason. Give it to him. Trust your man. I think obviously the higher up the level you get, but at my level, you had that. If you're calling for the ball, I trust in you that you know what you're going to do with it. I wouldn't call for the ball if I'm surrounded unless I was comfortable taking the ball in that position. So I think captain's got to instill that in a lot of players. You've got to instill that in the players, like the trust in you, the trust in others. You've got to be vocal. You can play badly. It's not a problem. It's how you react to certain situations. If I've seen players which are brilliant footballers that the head goes down or they lose their head, and it transmits to the rest of the team, even though they might be captained by armband, it's not. You still looked up to. It's like the manager losing their head. If you think that's all right, then I'll do it. You know what I mean? They're the same with kids when they're shouting at the referee. It leads to that. I mean, the amount of times I've seen something happen on Match of the Day, and then someone else do it on a Sunday afternoon or Sunday morning. It's crazy. Yeah. I mean,
the thing we're getting now is the whole diving thing, the whole feigning injury and buying free kicks is becoming a bit of in vogue because it's what's happening in the Premier League and all over. So people are copying it, you know.
So it's ridiculous. We seen that when we played on Monday. There's a couple of them were just like, bro, we're not being funny. There's no cameras. Why are you screaming?
Yeah, rolling around and that,
I know he's clipped you. I mean, if he's clipped you, then it's fair enough. But we're going to give you we referee ourselves. So it's I don't get it. I don't get that part of it. But again, it's just what you see. Some people see it as normal, especially like playing local football in the Canary Islands in Spain. It's very much scream, roll around if you touched, and it's very much. Well, before it wasn't the British way. You just take it like, all right, it's all right. I'll get you next time I get a chance. But it's very different here.
I was surprised at that. This is obviously the football I would have played would have been 20 years ago, and it would have been in England. It was surprising to me how there were some good players, and at first they were like all fancy Dan, and then as soon as you put a tackle on them, that's it. They crumble. Some of them, you know, they jump out of the way, or you know what I mean? Their attitude change. I also found on Monday, like you were saying about trust your player if he's calling for the ball. Like I know I'm like getting back to fitness and a little bit slower. Like I found myself in some good positions. I can still find space. I was dropping off finding space, but the younger lads, even before they've seen, it's not even like a case of trust. Like they won't pass for you. They won't pass to you. They want to take everybody on and score on their own, and then it gets to in the end you just stop making the runs. Like I've only got so many of them runs in me, and in the end I just it's not coming to me. Do you know what I mean? I just was like dropping back, thinking I'm not gonna go. You know what I mean? And I also it was frustrating for me as well. Like my mind could see what I wanted to do. Like this leads on about you, the way you were leading. Like at one point you played the ball to me, I was on the left, and I could see to switch it across field ball. And then you did shout to me, like, go inside, play it easy. But I tried to switch the ball. I didn't even have proper boots on, whatever. And I didn't get enough height on it. It got cut out. And then, like, you had to mop up. And you said to me, like, look, until you're sure, until you got your fitness back, until you got your touch back, just play the percentage. So just play the easy ball. So 100% you make the pass. Like, I know you can see it. I know you can do it. But at the minute, until you're like warmed up, just play it easy. And then I did from the rest of that then. And then I thought I played a little bit better when I just tried to contain. Showed a bit of composure at the back as well, didn't I, hey?
Yeah, I like it. Look, small little passes inside the box, just playing around people. I like it. It's things like that where I always go to that if I've ever started, like if my passive range is off or I've started badly, like the referee saying to me, chin up player, that was terrible. They kicked the ball out of play, that's bad. But so I always just go back to basics. If something's not working, okay, I know what I can do, which is basic. I'll play the ball. If I'm not having the greatest game, let's let someone else on the ball. So little things like that. I like stuff like that. I think it's one of those things where sometimes, I mean, I love the boys we play with on Monday. They're such good lads. I mean, some of the younger kids, I think when you were saying about the keeping the ball, I think that's how they're trained. Like, I think they're taught that. I mean, the kid on the left, for us, the blonde hair kid with the Barcelona top, really good. Technically, especially for his age, really good. But right now, very predictable. He's always going to chop back. He's always going to come in from the left on his right foot. And then he wants to pass when he's surrounded. And by that time, you're out. And like I said, he's a very good player. Very
There's
good.
there's times when, because of his skill and how dangerous he is, he's bringing 2 or 3 towards him, which means
Yeah.
other people are in
Someone's spare.
space. All he needs to do is bring them in, pop it over to the spare man. But by the time he's got 3 on him, a lot of the time he was then looking to play the out ball and losing it. You know what I mean? Like, if he could just get in his game, like there's a time to run with it, there's a time to hold it, there's a time to draw them in, but there's a time also to exploit the space somewhere else.
Yeah. Well, I think that's the difference between what he was doing and I don't know if you know who Misha is, the little ginger one that played centre midfield for. I think he was on the Yellows. I think he's 14. Like, he's got that down now. He draws people in, and he'll either spin or just roll it to someone else. He honestly, watching him play the last 3 months, he's developed so well. He's going to be some player. Like at 14, he's big anyway, so he's going to be some player. Really?
I don't know you mean that. A big lad, yeah. He's not 14.
No. You're on about Jackson. Jackson's the big guy.
Yeah. I was going to say, if he's 14, mate, what are they feeding him?
He's a big Geordie then if he's 14.
Yeah,
but it's great to play. It's nice. Yeah. It's a nice group of lads we have. Yeah, it's mixed ability, and it's one of those things where this is where we speak to our mate James. It's fun in games. You just can't let it frustrate you. Like, play to their ability as people play to yours. Like, that's how I look at things. Went off topic there. Didn't talk about captain's points, but oh well.
No, but it was all pertinent. Like, I was getting frustrated, but I didn't get frustrated with anyone else. Like, I'm quite encouraging when I play. Like, I've got captain qualities in that I can see what's going on. Like, there's a few things I'm thinking of. So the only thing about frustration, I was getting frustrated with myself. Like, you were late, weren't you? You're stuck in traffic. Yeah. So the first game, I played sort of midfield, but I was going up top and supporting with Tommy. So me and Tommy were sort of up front. And a couple of times, I got the ball, and then I could see the through ball, so I put him in a couple of times, and I started all right. And then I found a bit of space, and I made a couple of runs, and the balls were played through to me, but just my touch was off. You know what I mean? I got in 2 really good positions and made a run. One was on the left, and my first touch it ran away from me to the keeper, whereas that never would have happened before. Yeah. And I think when I was playing all the time, I would have just did it across. I would have put it in the corner with my left foot. You know what I mean? But instead, I tried to take a touch inside because of confidence. Then I was getting frustrated with that. And then, like we said, when I tried to switch the ball over and didn't get hold of it properly. And I think, I played a bit better the longer it went on. And strangely, I played at the back, didn't I?
Yeah, you came at the back with me for a bit, yeah.
I played at the back in the last 2 games with you, and we kept clean sheets in them games. Me and you at the back, well, all of us, but me and you at the back. And I thought I played all right there, whereas that's not my game at all. I even had a little going goal as well from one of the games, because we take turns and rotate. No one in our team wanted to go in goal, so we all went in goal for it. But what I did notice was, I think goalkeepers should be vocal anyway, but it put a point in my mind about the qualities of a captain. And I don't normally like a goalkeeper as captain, because a goalkeeper should organise the back line or whatever. But I could actually, on a 7-a-side pitch, I could actually see a lot. Everything was in front of me. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. So in a way, I wonder if it might be different on a proper full size, 90, 100-yard pitch, to get your communication over. But certainly, if you're not that vocal a captain, you could definitely see what's going on. And at half time and whatnot, you could, suggest changes and stuff.
Yeah, I'd say with that, when you get higher up, when you've got crowds making noise, you've got 20,000 people making noise, it could be a lot more difficult to get from the goalkeeper forward. But then I would also say at that sort of level, playing in front of those sort of people, you'd expect, just because you're not captain, your centre-back would be quite vocal. Every time I play centre-back, you have to be vocal. You've got to speak to the person next to you. You've got to control your left back. You've got to control the midfielder in front. So, I think something like that, you'd expect more vocal people. Your captain will have to be vocal because they'll have to talk about what they're doing. Are they playing 2 inside? Are they playing 3 in the middle? Are they playing 2 deep? Are they standing on up front? And same with your forward. Your forward's going to have to be. So I think all your players through the middle really need to be quite vocal. But, I mean, which one did you put your captain? I would always lean towards centre-backs purely because history-wise, you look at it, a lot of them have worked. You'd say more worked centre-back than anywhere else. But it's just Morley, you can see everything in front. You see the attack coming. It's very rare you get done by a long ball like nowadays. You know what I mean? They're like, you're too clever to read it. But as a forward, if you're trying to look at players' runs and stuff, you might only have that 1-2 seconds to get a shot off. While defenders, you got to get past the unit. Plus the goalkeeper's insurance. So yeah, I would say captains really would be. I would pick normally a centre back, but it's just got to be. You got to have that trust in your players, instill that trust in your players, and you've got to be positive, not just with vocal, with your body language. Body language is so key. Wingers usually have bad body language where they don't get the ball and their heads down, shoulders shrugged. So I think centre backs would be the one. That's what I'd say would make a good captain. Got to be vocal, got to be trusting in your players, and body language is a really good thing.
Yeah, I think you embodied all the qualities of a captain because you were organising on the pitch, and it's interesting how well and not well different characters take the feedback as well from you, because you were encouraging, you were giving advice, you were organising the back line, you were even calling out to other people like, look, he's open on your left, look, switch the play, blah, 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 play it easy. Like, you were like constantly talking and vocal all the way through, but then you were also like leading by example. Like when we were 1-1 with like 10 seconds to go, you surged forward, got the ball and hit one from distance and scored the winner. Like, but you step up and but you played over that course of that. You played up front in one game, midfield in another game, in goal for another game, and at back for the other two. So you just stepped in anywhere, and you were equally terrible in all of them. Was the point?
Exactly.
No, you did really well, and I think you embodied all the things you'd want out of a captain. You led by example. You stepped up, you dictated the play, you encouraged people, you organised others, people that are rusty like me. You were like, you included me in the game, but you were like making it easy for me and giving me an option. You know what I mean? Like, I felt like you led there. Just a quick question to finish up on captains, because we're nearly 20 minutes on it. So we could all think of examples of like hard man captains and leader captains and lead by example captains. What category would you put England captain David Beckham in? Because I would probably say led by example, yeah.
Yeah, I think if from the stories you hear about Beck's, excellent in training, positive around people. I mean, you don't really speak to or hear any stories where people don't like him. And in football, I mean, at some point, there's people out there that have done nothing to me. I've played football with, don't like the way you play, don't like you. And that just happens. Sometimes it just happens. There's nothing you can do about it. There's people that I don't like the way they play football, but like them on a personal level. It's great, but you don't hear any stories about Beck. So I would probably say he's one of those lead by example, good body language in every situation. I mean, the Greece game, just running to take corners, running to take free kicks. I mean, you had Lampard, Gerrard in there. Yeah, you had Lampard, Gerrard who can hit free kicks. If Beckham's had 3 or 4, you could expect one of them to go, listen, give me a chance. He's got no move. Like, listen, I've got this responsibility on himself.
They were sighters, and then in the end came good, we spoke about the other one. Yeah. There are people there are friends of ours that I really like them as people, but I don't necessarily like their football personality. do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We won't go in case they watch it. I won't. Not
just that team.
yeah. So that's that one. And the next thing, unless you've got any subjects off the top of your
head. No, you carry on.
I want to talk about, and you touched on it there, and it segues nicely, talking about some of the younger players that we play with on Monday, really, developing and certain things they're learning. But of course, we're talking at a much higher level. What do you think about, because I've got an opinion on this, young players, is it important those crucial development years they get a lot of game time? And I'll give you the example of what I'm thinking of here, right? Again, I'm going to reference it back to my team, which is, obviously the main team I watch. We've let a lot of players from our academy go in the last couple. What are you grinning at?
I just did the eye sign. You weren't even looking.
Oh, sorry. I looked down at my phone. I was looking at the. What I'm doing is I'm making notes about what we're talking about, so that when I'm doing the description or the title, I know what we've spoken about. So, we've let a lot of academy players go, right? And lots of people's argument for that. Some of them look really good. As yet, they've maybe not set the world alight, right? But a lot of people's argument is, well, who's come back to bite us on the arse? Like who's been a real regret letting go? Because none of them have gone on to do anything. But my argument is, but you don't know, because if you've let them go now, they've gone to another club and then they've been loaned out to somewhere else at a lower level, or they're not really getting the game time between 18 and 22, right? Who knows what they would have developed into? And then as a segue from this, we'll do both at the same time, in the interest of time and in the interest of them working. The other one is, do loan moves for young players really work anymore? And I think you've got to pick the right loan. And here's the thing I'm saying about. We had a player, Josh Cullen, who was with us all the way from being a kid. We didn't let him go in the end when we decided he weren't going to make it at West Ham until he was about 24. Like, footballers' careers are short.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? We really robbed him of his career. We sent him out on loan several times. I think he was like this place, like player of the season for them, and then out again the next season. Came back for pre-season, looked really good in the pre-season friendlies. You thought he might break through. No, didn't fancy him. Shipped him out again. But by the same token, someone like Declan Rice was released by Chelsea's academy at 16. Even at West Ham's academy, did not look like one of the players that was going to go on to be all that special. People like Reece Oxford were way ahead of him.
Yeah.
Reece Oxford came into the team, got a bit big for his boots on a 20 grand a week contract at 16, ended up going to play for like Augsburg in Germany and then faded a little bit into obscurity. Whereas Rice didn't go out on loan, stayed with us, got some game time under Pellegrini. Pellegrini switched him from centre-back into like CDM, kept playing in the games, played against Liverpool, ducked out the way of the ball and was at fault for a goal, got took off at half-time at Newcastle because he made a mistake, but he kept getting those minutes. And in my opinion, he played those crucial minutes in first team games between like 18 and 20, 21. And then you saw him develop into the player he is today, without the need for a loan and without being shipped out. The question I pose is, number one, are loans all that important and are they that beneficial anymore? And also players like, let's have a think, like Sonny Perkins or Ngakia or the players that have left our youth academy, if they'd have had the same opportunities as the same amount of first team minutes or even men's football minutes as Rice, could they have developed into something better than they have? And when people say, oh, they didn't come back to bite you on the arse, is that because they missed out on those formative, important years of development?
Yeah, like, I think with the loans and the youth players, I think it's one of them where certain players develop their football intelligence at a certain age, right? So I personally would probably say, I think I was a bit of a late bloomer with my football intelligence. I probably went from 19 to between the ages of 22 is where my football intelligence developed, especially with some of the players I played with, like some of the defenders I played with, Frencher, Wazza, like some of the Gopé, such good players to learn from. So, and then when I started playing, I think it helped me a bit more. I played every position. Like literally, my manager used to say, "You're a nuisance." He'd pick his team, pick the weakest position, and put me there. So one week I'd be playing left man marking of a back three, then I'd be playing right wing back, centre mid, whatever. So I think that helped with my football intelligence wise. But with the youth players, I would probably say I think they've got to be clever with it. Like certain players will develop more from training with better players, while other people need to play. I think it all depends on those people. That's where, to me, their agents and advisors should come into that. Like knowing the player themselves. I mean, usually what Liverpool do, when they buy a player that has played minutes, they'll keep him training. Play around the players they have. Play around the people that are at a higher level. Players that will come through the academy, if they're developing, then yes, they'll keep them in. Let me just get this dog.
I think Liverpool have done it right in many respects because, I mean, take the example of in the cup final. I think there was 5 youth players that came and appeared during the cup final. Whereas, again, at my team, West Ham, like a lot of the youth players can't get a look in. The only time they played was when we'd already won the group in the Conference League and it was a dead game. And he just threw like 11 of them in. Do you know what I mean? And there was times, like I remember a couple of seasons ago, we had an injury crisis. We had absolutely no centre-backs whatsoever. And then we had the young lad who was the captain of the under-21s, Elise, who was like a real leader, real big unit. He looked like a man, like really built, like 6'4". and he'd been tearing it up in the youth, was far too good for the youth team, and he still wouldn't get a game, wouldn't even get on the bench. In the end, he played something like Ben Johnson at centre-back, and Cresswell was the other centre-back, and we got rinsed. And you've got to, as a youth player, look at that and think, we've got no players in my position, and I still can't get a sniff. You'd be questioning your future, wouldn't you?
Well, that goes back to the conversation we had with England. That's how I would look at it. If you're a centre midfielder and Southgate has picked Trent to play in your position, bearing in mind he's played there 3 times and that's not his position.
No.
That would personally, I'd be like, well, what am I here for? And I'm guessing as a youth player, as a youth player.
Either is right back.
That's another conversation. Well, so if I'm a youth player and I'm thinking, right, I've come through your academy, you know me in and out, you know I've been doing well at this level. All right, so the opportunity's not come for me to be tested at this level. Fine. This is your chance. Put me in, let me sink or swim. Like Declan Rice has. Let me learn from these mistakes. Liverpool have got that Kwanzaa in, and he's a unit of a man. He's took Joe Gomez's spot because what he's done, he's made mistakes, but he's learned from those mistakes. Konate will probably be our first choice centre-back with Van Dijk, but if he goes off the boil a little bit, there's a player there hungry to go and play, and Klopp shown, I will bring him in. Doesn't matter about your age. If you're good enough, you're good enough. As Fergie said, that was the rule. I mean, even Wenger used to do it. He got to semi-finals and finals of League Cups playing your young Fabregases, your Wiltshires, your Songs, your Van Persies, those your Franny Jeffers, these young players that they brought in or developed themselves were that good and showed them that good with the mix of a bit of experience and that sort of thing. They got to finals. They got to semi-finals. He played the youth team in the final because he said they got there. Why would I take them out now? So I think it's one of those where, as a player, you need to know. You should know what you're developing from, or your coach or someone should know what you're developing. Are you going to be beneficial from going to play championship football as a bit more rough, or maybe you need toughening up? Maybe you are one of those players where if someone comes in with a bit of a tackle, you fade out of the game. Maybe that you need that. This is your choice. You're going to sink or swim. Maybe you need the training. Maybe you've got the minutes under your belt. You're good at your positioning. You're good at your vocal, but you just need to technically get a little bit smarter, look at things in a different angle. Maybe that's where the training comes in. But I would always say, majority of the time, you've got to play to develop. Training's great, but there's nothing right like playing. I agree. Even at the levels.
Which leads us into the last topic for today. In which case, do we need to bring back reserve team football? Because I think the minutes are important, and I think there's a massive disparity between the under-21s, under-23s development squad and men's football, especially at the Premier League level, where you might be ripping it up in the youth team, scoring 3 goals a game. It's a different game playing with men. Whereas years ago, we used to have reserve teams. The fringe players are always sharp because they're always playing on a Thursday night or whatever. And you might be playing with superstars coming back from injury, just trying to get some minutes in, and that will teach you an invaluable lesson without the high stakes pressure of a Premier League game. And also getting used to playing with fully formed, filled out, developed men when you're 16, 17 has surely got to be a better way to learn in reserve team football than the shock of being a good prospect coming off the bench, and it's a different world where everyone's much more physical, much more filled out, man strength. So is there an argument to bring back reserve team football?
Well, they have the Premier League 2, don't they? That they use at the minute, which is, I think you're allowed 3 or 4 over 21 players. But I understand the concept.
It's largely a youth.
I understand the concept of it, but to me, I remember we used to go and watch reserve team football at Leicester down at Filbert Street, especially when Liverpool were coming to town. You know what I mean? You might get a Stan Collymore turning up to play or someone like that. I don't get why you wouldn't. The reserve team football to me made so much sense. Keeping players sharp. If you don't play on a Saturday, have it midweek or on a Thursday, the game. You bring in the youth players to fill in, players coming back from injury. And it's also, to me, you could make that the affordable football night for people.
Yes.
I remember when we went, I think it was £5 to go.
Yeah.
Like, it's one of those things where surely that would help you with your fan base as well. If you actually going to see someone, it's the reason. One of the reasons why I support Liverpool. Went to watch Leicester reserves versus Liverpool, and you see some players and you think that's a bit. I think David James played, so I was like,
You get
go on,
a
then.
glimpse of the stars you've idolised.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think, absolutely, reserve team football. And like you say, it's a much better step if you're playing against, say, an aging centre back who's coming towards the twilight of their career, maybe doing their coaching badges, still want to keep fit, still want to play, still have that competitiveness, still want to be useful if needed. That's a great learning curve to go and play someone who knows all the little tricks of the trade, all the little niggles, a little off the ball. I mean, first time I played up front and someone gave it one of the things I used to do trying to annoy me, it grabbed my leg hairs. Just like trying to pull my leg hairs out, like trying to put me off. Like, and it's those sort of things which you learn, you think.
So that's why you shave your legs now. I was right. That makes a bit more sense now.
I
did
wish,
see you
Jesus Christ.
before we went on Monday, I did see you waxing your legs and you had the razor out for the little bits you couldn't get. I thought that was to make you run faster.
No, it's to slide faster. This
right.
Less friction.
While we wrap this one up, have you got an unpopular opinion for us?
I have, but I'm going to change it. I'm going to go for a player feel. You always start. I'm going to give you one.
Yeah, go on then.
Benjani.
So he was at Portsmouth, wasn't he?
He was at Portsmouth and another team.
What was the other team?
Premier League champions.
Weren't at Blackburn, was he?
Man City.
Man City, was he really?
He was
it's more fun to do Portsmouth, I think. So let's go for an easy one. Give me a tap in till we get going. Let's go for Cranshaw.
Sean Davis.
Let's come back at you with Matty Taylor.
Oh, I was going to go Matty Taylor. I like it. Yunus Cabal. He was terrible.
Do you know what? I've just thought of someone. I'm trying to work out if he played for Pompey. Definitely played for Cardiff. And I don't think he did. But when we were talking the other day about lower league players,
You're going to say Robbie Earnshaw.
Did he play for Pompey for a while?
I don't think so, but interesting fact on Robbie Earnshaw, he's the only footballer to score a hat-trick in all the professional divisions in England.
No way.
Yeah.
Who was
scored
the
a hat-trick
lad?
in League Two.
There's also a lad, I think he's at Luton. Pele Reid has played at every level, like every league. Like from not like the Valderrama League or Vanderrama League or whatever it is. Like League Two, League One. I think it's Pele Reid. That's come all the way through.
The one I know that's played from professional or from the lower league professional from I think it was Division 3 all the way to the Champions League, Steve Finnan. Yeah, he's played all the way through to Champions League.
Wow.
That's some going, that, isn't it?
Yeah, that is some going. Trying to think of Portsmouth players around that time. Should be so many. They got to a cup. They won the cup, didn't they?
Yeah, they won the FA Cup under Harry Redknapp.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying
to think. Big Jermaine
Defoe. Yeah, Jermaine Defoe, yeah. I'm trying to think of that Redknapp team. Obviously, I went for Cranshaw straight away, Redknapp. And Cranshaw always reminded me of, not for Portsmouth, but for your team. Do you remember Patrick Berger?
Yes. What a player. And he was Portsmouth.
That's what I was going to say.
He played for Portsmouth. Yeah, he played for Portsmouth. He was good.
Yeah.
Like, Big Berger could hit a ball.
Yeah.
But one more reach then. I will give you Eddie Howe.
Eddie Howe. Did Freddie Picquion go with him to Portsmouth as well?
I don't know.
I've got a brilliant Freddie Picquion story. Do you want to hear it before we go?
Go for it. Go on. We'll finish on Freddie Picquion.
So, back in the day, before I met my lovely wife and my single days, I was sitting in Starbucks in Romford, right? Just having a coffee, waiting for a mate. And this beautiful woman walks in and sits down the next table. And I couldn't help but look. I'm a single man. It's only natural. I'm looking around. So I was like, look at that, mate. Like, lovely. Anyway, so she gets her phone out and she answers the phone. She's talking to somebody and she's quite clearly French. She's speaking French. So I'm like, oh, mate. So she looks over a couple of times and smiles, right? You know where this is going, don't you?
She's only human.
Exactly right. She looks over a couple of times and smiles. And I'm sort of thinking like, oh, mate, like, am I in here or what? So she was like constantly looking toward. I'm sitting by the door, she constantly looking over at me, like by the door. I was like, all right. So I had a French friend, like a girl called Adeline. So I text Adeline. I was like, right, look, what do I say here? How do I introduce myself? Like, give me a little bit of lingo, right? So she's like sending me back, like, I say, oh, bonjour, ça va, blah, blah, ask if I can buy her a coffee and whatnot. So she goes, well, better still, like, see what she's drinking, just go and buy that and come over and say, like, can I join you and give her a coffee? So she tells me how to say it. I forget now. So I'm like practicing it, rehearsing. She's still looking over, smiling, looking over towards me. I'm sat right next to the door thinking, like, she's not looking at anyone else. There's like me and the door on a wall. So I was like, right, so get yourself all ready. Yeah, go up there, order my latte, order, I think it was a cappuccino, get it, walk over there, stand behind her. And just as I go to say something, Freddie Picquion walks through the door. She gets up, gives him a kiss, and she wasn't looking at me. She was looking at the door because it was Picquion's wife.
Oh, wow.
So cock blocked by big Freddie Picks.
How dare he? How dare he keep hold of his wife?
Exactly right. And then I had to drink 2 more coffees, so I was buzzing. But never mind. Never mind. Like, totally cock blocked by Freddie Picquion. Mate, another good episode. Should we leave it there for today?
Yeah, leave it there for the day. I know you've got another one about singing later on. So
yes, I do indeed. Yeah. Thank you so much for joining us, ladies and gentlemen, from me and from Kanye. Make sure, and again, we are loving all the feedback we're getting so far and all the comments. We haven't tackled many comments in this one, but we will go back through some of the comments and bring up some of the things you've asked us to talk about. Really, really helps if you can migrate over to YouTube and stick your likes and comments on that, because the more interaction and engagement on YouTube, the more YouTube learns that people are interested and they send it out and higher up the search for other people to discover. So we need that, and we need the subscribers. We're going to build this from the ground up. We want you to be a part of the journey. So until next time on
Opinions from Offside.
Thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you soon.
Cheers, guys.